Hey Yinzers, I'm Double AP, and this is another episode of Yinzology, the study of everything Pittsburgh. Ology. It's a Greek word that means the study of something. And that something is yins. And yins is a Pittsburgh word for someone or a group of people from Pittsburgh. So we study folks from the burg. We study their culture, their customs, their way of life, their art, their music, their food, their sports, the way they talk and that. It's a little different, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so welcome to the neighborhood where we study everything and anything about Pittsburgh and the people of Pittsburgh. It's a new year with a new fresh look. I'm calling this the Three Rivers Studio. I love maps. And while I was looking for maps, I was reminded of a little bit of Western PA history. Imagine a time, go back to a place where Pennsylvania, the state, the Keystone State, hasn't quite been established. There are the 13 colonies on the East Coast. But if you head out west to say Western PA, that really wasn't Western PA yet, you have total chaos and you are an early pioneer in frontier wild country. We're talking Native American Indian attacks. We're talking about the British. We're talking about the British messing with the Native Americans and stirring the pot. We're talking about land grabs and, hey, I claim this land. No, you don't. I claim this land. And everybody's claiming land. There's Quakers in the mix. There's anti-slavery. There's pro-slavery. There's all these things in the mix. There's not to mention the lions and tigers and bears. Oh my. And so all this craziness, the early frontier pioneers were like, hey, you folks on the East Coast, you're ignoring us and we kind of need help here because we don't live long as it is. And now that we went out west, we just shot ourselves in the foot and our chances of survival is slim pickings. We need help. And that's what Pennsylvania and Virginia Congress did. They really did ignore them. They're like, okay, great. Because what they wanted to do was establish and propose what would have been one of the 14 colonies, and they called it Vandalia. They wanted to call it Vandalia in honor of at that time, the British Queen. Her name was Charlotte, which is why Charlotte in the South, North Carolina, is what's named after Queen Charlotte of Mecklenburg. And so they wanted to name the new colony Vandalia because she was of the Germanic North African tribe, the Vandalic tribe, which some historians seem to believe she may have had actually black African roots. And some historians believe she was a black queen. This was depicted recently in a Netflix series. I'll let you do the research and decide for yourself, but it's very interesting. They wanted to name this colony Vandalia, but this little thing came along and it was called the Revolutionary War. So they had to put this idea on the back burner. Now, when the war was over, they brought the issue back up again and said, hey, this is still wild frontier country and you're still ignoring us. We need to establish our own state, which would have included Western PA, most of what we consider West Virginia, part of, I think, Kentucky and maybe a part of Maryland would have been this new state. Well, they shot that down when this little thing came along called the Whiskey Rebellion. So imagine there was whiskey, and there was a lot of whiskey, and a lot of whiskey was being produced mostly in Pennsylvania. Well, here we have this baby new established government who decides, hey, we need to put a tax on whiskey. Well, you know what happens next. People got really angry, and there was a rebellion. And that's when George Washington had to rally his troops again and head to Pittsburgh, and they shut her down. They shut that Whiskey Rebellion down. And not only did they shut that Whiskey Rebellion down, they said, hey, no more talk about this Westsylvania or Vandalia, because after the Revolutionary War, they changed the name from Vandalia and they wanted to name it Westsylvania. And Pittsburgh would have been the capital of Westsylvania. And when they shut down that Whiskey Rebellion, they're like, hey, No more talk about Vandalia or Queen Charlotte or Westsylvania, whatever you want to call it. We're shutting that down too, and you never hear about it ever again. I want to thank Jimmy Two Time and his wife. They purchased for Christmas, they upgraded my microphone. It's a great little microphone. I had to buy this cord that had I videotape everything on my iPhone, so I had to buy this adapter. And if you watch the first part one of Tin City, you will hear radio frequency chatter picked up by this new cord. Didn't put enough shielding around it. So it's basically picking up radio. I decided to jerry rig it. Since they jerry built it, I'm going to jerry rig it and just put shielding tape on the wire. Other than that, it's a great little microphone. And we're getting high tech here. Wait for it. Yeah, look at that. This table reminds me of Planes, Trains, and Automobiles when Steve Martin is driving the car and he yells at John Candy, "Stop messing with the seat buttons, you're going to break the seat." And John Candy's like, "I'm not going to break the seat." And then John Candy's driving the car and Steve Martin's in the seat and he's like, "Great, you broke the seat." And that's when the seat drives Steve Martin's face, smashes it into the front windshield. It's the funniest thing. So again, welcome to the new studio. Hopefully we'll put out a lot of new production, and we know how important your time is. And if you stop by this channel to watch something, hopefully we want to present you. We don't want to waste your time. Hopefully you're getting some sort of value, a little bit of trivia, maybe some history. Maybe you grew up born and raised in Pittsburgh, but for some reason you had to move and you just want you want to reminisce, a little nostalgia, and you want to just meet up with another Yinzer. Well, this is your channel. Thanks for stopping by the neighborhood. We love having you. We love spending time with you. Until next time, I'm Double AP and I'm out.